coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. Got a late start today because I was hard at work running down the Bible study, which was a very, very, very difficult Bible study today. And I don't think it's going to be that difficult for you, but it's definitely controversial, you might say. I don't know. Whatever the church world would think about it, which would be rejection, probably. Who cares? So, let me go into the chat and put my posts up real quick. And this is not going to be a terribly long study. It's going to be rather brief. I'm just going to try to stick to this one topic, which concerns the two witnesses. And this is not right. So I gotta go back and kill that. And go there. Go there. Go there. And let's see if we have sound and picture. It seems like we do. Almost done, guys. I'll be with you quickly. I'm just getting my posts up there. Okay, being a Bible-believing site, I'm finished with the chat. Being Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise. If you're a true believer in Yeshua HaMashiach and you wish to join in, that's up to you. Okay, I can't stop or cause anybody to join in or not join in. There is, and I don't know, who the people are. People come in all the time. I never saw them before, so. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay. So here we go. The idea is, do the two cherubs on the ark with the wings represent the two witnesses? They're inanimate objects, so they're not literally the two witnesses, obviously, okay? So what we'll do is we'll build a case around this, and I'll show you the rather amazing similarities that would lead one to believe that it is the case that they do represent the two witnesses. Okay? We'll deal with Solomon's temple, and we'll deal with the tabernacle, Moses and Aaron tabernacle. First, the problem is with the word. Okay? Now, when you go and you look at the word for cherub, Strong's tells you it's like really an unknown derivative. They don't know about this word. That's what Strong says. Now, a lot of the churchianity-oriented goofballs will tell you what they want to tell you. It means an angel and this kind of thing. But, does it really mean that? That's the question. Okay? And I did find a guy that did disentangle this to some extent, and I'll read you what he says. A cherub is the Hebrew cherub. It's not cherub, it's cherub. Plural would be cherubim, likely borrowed from a derived form of Akkadian caribou, to bless, such as one who blesses. One of the unearthly beings who, sounds like Star Trek, one of the unearthly beings who directly attend God, according to the Abrahamic religions, which is the Old Testament, and the New to us, but probably not to him. So it has something to do with bless or blessing. Okay, it's not exactly a category of an angel. That's what you got to get down. Oh, before I forget, we have a prayer request for AP Alpha Papa, AP Alpha Papa, AP. Prayer request for a good job with Shabbat off, and also healing for the back. So for AP Alpha Papa, the prayer is for a good job where no work is needed on, you don't have to go to work on Saturday, so Sabbath day off, and a healing for the back. We've prayed this a number of times over the years for people, and normally they get another job, and a lot of times they would be unhappy, discontent, whatever, at their existing job because they have to work on the Shabbat. It's one of the easy things in Israel. Just about everybody's off on Shabbat. Not everybody, but just about. So we'll go to, I think, Exodus 25. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, that they bring me an offering of every man that giveth it willingly with his heart, he shall take my offering. Let me skip ahead because I don't want to get into everything in there. we'll go to verse 10. And they shall make an ark of shittim wood, 2 cubits and a half shall be the length, and 1.5 cubits the breadth thereof. That's the width. And 1.5 cubits the height. So it's equidimensional. Length, width, and height. No, it's not. 2 cubits and a half is the length. 1.5 cubits is the breadth, and 1.5 cubits is the width. So it's not all equal. Thou shalt overlay it with pure gold, within and without. Shalt thou overlay it, and shall make upon it a crown of gold round about. And thou shalt cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put them in the 4 corners thereof. 2 rings in the one side, and 2 rings in the other side. And thou shalt make staves of shittim wood, overlay them with gold. And thou shalt put the stave into the rings by the sides of the ark, that the ark may be borne with them. The stave shall be the rings of the ark. They shall not taken from it. And thou shalt put into the ark the testimony which I shall give thee. Now the testimony, the word for that is edit. And Strong says it's testimony or witness. So is that the Old Testament? Maybe it's the books of Moses, I'm not sure. And thou shalt make, or maybe it's the 10 Commandments, I'm not sure. And thou shalt make a mercy seat of pure gold, 2 cubits and a half shall the length thereof, and 1.5 cubits the breadth thereof. And thou shalt make 2 cherubim of gold, of beaten work shalt thou make them in the 2 ends of the mercy seat. Oh, let's look up this beaten work word. Miksha, hammered, cultivated. Beaten out of one piece. So there would be a big chunk of gold, and they would bang it around and, maybe heat it up or something and make it look like they want it to look like. We could take the word beaten and run with that, with the 2 witnesses. Before they're formed, they went through rough times. Like beaten, but it might not be relevant. And make 1 cherub on the one end and the other cherub on the other end. Even of the mercy seat shall you make the cherubim on the 2 ends. So they're definitely associated with God, the ark, the testimony of God, the word, you would say, whether it's the 10 Commandments or the whole Tanakh, it's still the word of the Lord. the gold, and the mercy. And the cherubim shall stretch forth their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings. And their faces shall look one to another towards the mercy seat, shall the faces of the cherub be. So they are looking at each other, which would make one think they're in agreement. And thou shalt put the mercy seat above upon the ark, and in the ark thou shalt put the testimony that I shall give thee. And there I will meet with thee, this is the glory God of Israel, and commune with thee from above the mercy seat, from between the two cherubim, which are upon the ark of the testimony of all which I will give thee in commandments unto the children of Israel. So this would be the Tanakh, the first 5 books of Moses anyway, I would say. I'm thinking that. It might be less than that. It might just be like Genesis and Exodus and Numbers, or just Genesis and Exodus. I don't know. We may find out real soon, though. So here we see a connection between the glory of God of Israel, between the two cherubim. So we see Malachi 3, at least we see Elijah, one of the 2 witnesses, working, and he's mentioned alongside the glory of God of Israel in his temple. And Elijah's preparing the Levites to make the offerings acceptable unto the Lord. So we definitely see the tie-in there. There's greater coincidences. That's a good one, though. Thou shalt also make a table of shittim wood. Okay, so now we're getting off that subject. Okay. So I'm going to put the air conditioner on. It's getting a little stuffy in here. Right there. Not going anywhere, just to the end of the room here. Yafi, you're a chow hound. That's what you are. Okay. Now, let's go look at Zechariah 4, which will be relevant for where we're headed and what we just did, and learn more about the 2 witnesses and why there's this parallelism or this connection. And the angel that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that is wakened from his sleep. The air conditioner didn't do anything, did it? Let's get it to work. Sounds like it's trying to do something. There it goes. And said unto me, Whither seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold. Now, were the 2 angels made all of gold? Yes. Were the 2 cherubs? It doesn't mean the angel per se. That's the church teachers. And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick all of gold with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps which are on the top thereof. Now, 7 candlesticks. Revelation 5:6. Saying with a loud voice, oh, that's the wrong verse, 5:6, that was on 12 for some reason. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne, and of the 4 beasts, in the midst of the elders, stood a lamb as it had been slain, having 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. And in another place it tells us his eyes are like a flaming fire. And each of the 7 candlesticks burns olive oil to make a flaming fire. And olive oil is indicative of the anointing. Zechariah 4, now I'm on verse 3. And 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof. There's golden pipes from the olive trees that go into the 7 candlestick menorah, distributing the oil into the menorah. The oil representing the anointing. We would also be able to say that the 7 candlesticks represent the 7 spirits of the Lord, in a way, because we read Yeshua's eyes, well, there's 7 eyes like a flame of fire. And I answered and spake to the angel. Now, the word for angel is Malach, which can mean a messenger. Remember, angels are ministering spirits that talk with me saying, what are these, my Lord? I'm not saying there's no such thing as angels. There are. Okay. Now, we go quickly into Malachi 3. Behold, I will send my Malach, which here they don't translate angel, they translate it as messenger, but that's the translators. The same word, Malach. So we could be getting a strong hint here, and this is referencing Elijah. I will send my Malach, and he shall prepare the way before me, like John the Baptist did with the spirit of Elijah, but this is Elijah, so it's different. And he will succeed where John the Baptist was out of the correct time for restoration of the kingdom of Israel. Prepare the way before me, And Adonai, whom you seek, shall suddenly come to his temple. That's the glory of God of Israel. So now we see a tie-in between Elijah, one of the two witnesses, and the glory of God of Israel. Even the come to his temple, and then it says even the messenger, but it doesn't say even the messenger. It just says Malach again of the covenant. That's Jehovah, whom you delight in. That's Elijah. Behold, he shall come, saith Jehovah of hosts. So isn't it curious that he's referred to as Malach, which can mean an angel? Can this open us up to Elijah something different, not one of the two witnesses? I don't know. We've got to pursue that. And these are the days of Elijah. Because we see him here by himself working, and we see the scripture says he must come first. If it wasn't Elijah, no, it's Elijah, because when they get killed in Revelation 11, it's the two olive trees and the candlesticks, so it should be Elijah. The reason he's working by himself is he comes or appears first. I always try to keep kicking against my own doctrines as much as I can to make sure I'm not off. And the Lord helps me. Without him, I'd be gone, I think. So the temple appears, and then the glory of God of Israel goes into the temple. Okay? So the temple is there first, which is consistent with Ezekiel 43, where we see him going into the temple. Messenger of the Malach of the covenant, whom you delight in, behold, he shall come, saith Jehovah of hosts. But who may abide in the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and like a fuller's soap. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. And he shall purify the sons of Levi and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Jehovah an offering in righteousness. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Jehovah, as in the days of old. Well, remember when Elijah was fighting Jezebel's priests, and they built an altar, and they were going to see whose God is real, and the priests of Jezebel were going to call fire down from heaven to burn up the offering, and that never happened for them, of course. And Elijah not only, did the same kind of an altar, but he also poured water all over the place. I mean, he drenched it with water. and fire came down from heaven and burned it up. So of course that was pleasing to God. And for him to do that makes me believe he's a Kohanim. Okay? A priest, descendant of Aaron. When he was in that state, and in his future state also. Because he's training the Levites, and he's obviously involved with the offerings if he's teaching them how to make the offerings. So he would be a Kohen. To train the Levites, who would just about, I mean, I don't want to make rules for God, but it would be obvious to me that he would be a Kohen, not just a Levite. And because I'm rather certain he will be probably meeting with and talking to the anointed prince in the temple. So he would have to approach close to the glory God of Israel. So he would have to be a son of Zadok as well. So I would give it to you this way. All the sons of Zadok are sons of the priests, of the Kohanim. And all the sons of the Kohanim are sons of Levi, are in Levi. Not all Levite are Kohanim, and not all Kohanim are sons of Zadok. And, you know, him hanging out there and talking to the anointed prince in the temple should be no surprise, because the glory of God of Israel will be in the next temple, and their images as cherubim were on the ark, where the glory of God would meet them over the mercy seat inside the tabernacle. So the two witnesses were essentially in their image form there in the holiest of holies. As for Aaron and Moses, then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto the Lord, as in the days of old, and as in former years. And I will come near to you to judgment, and I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, the adulterers, the false swearers, and against those that oppress the hireling in his wages, the widow, the fatherless, and that turn aside the stranger from his right, and fear not me, saith Jehovah of armies. So this is clearly not the heathen who would be committing adultery, and he wouldn't be especially concerned about how they treat the strangers and the widows and the orphans and, you know, that kind of thing. So it's pertaining to Israel. And that's the 2/3 getting cut off, as I reckon it. For I am Jehovah, I change not. Therefore, you sons, it says ye, which we would say you sons of, you know, ye's not in the original Hebrew text. The translators elected to say ye, but we could say you. Sons of Jacob are not consumed. Jacob meaning the 12 tribes. Father of the 12, that the tribes were named after, you could say. Even from the 12 tribes, even from the days of your fathers, you are gone away. You are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith Jehovah of armies. But you said, whither shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, wherein have we robbed thee? In tithes and offerings. So when you don't do the offerings, God considers you robbing him. You are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Bring you the tithes into the storehouses, that there might be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith Jehovah of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, and he shall not destroy the fruits of your ground, neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, saith Jehovah of armies. And all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, saith Jehovah of hosts. And okay, let's get back to Zechariah 4. I don't want to just keep reading whole chapters all day. It's too much. And we go to Zechariah 4:6, and this is kind of a message to Zerubbabel, who was building the temple at the time. They had to stop for 14 years, and the Lord's assuring him that it's going to be completed, and Zechariah and Zerubbabel were apparently contemporaries that came out of Babylon. And then we pick it up in verse 11, Zechariah 4:11. Then answered I and said unto him, what are these two olive trees? And the word is zeit, which was zaitim or zeit, which means olive, it's the correct word, upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left thereof. And I answered again and said unto him, what be these two olive branches which through the two golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves? And he answered me and said, knowest thou not what these be? And I said, no, my Lord, no, Adonai. Or it would be lo, Adonai. Then said he, these are the two anointed ones that stand by Jehovah of the whole earth. Now, what it really says is these are the Shnaim, which is two, B'nai, which is sons, Yitzar, which is the clarified olive oil, meaning the anointing. So these are the two anointed sons. The word sons is there, they omit it, because they don't want you to understand. These are the two anointed sons that stand by the Lord of the whole earth. So they stand by the Lord of the whole earth, they're in heaven. And if they're called sons, they're sons of God. Yeshua is the firstborn. Why would God say firstborn if he was the only son? He would just say the only son. He wouldn't say he's the only son, my firstborn. It wouldn't make sense. When you say firstborn, you mean there's more sons. Okay? That's not that difficult to grasp. A leaky cup or something here. Hold on. Tomato juice. No, it's not that bad. So this is generally never brought out when they talk about the two witnesses. They like to show you them getting killed. And, you know, that's Satan stuff. You know, hey, what's the two witnesses? Oh, they get killed. What? You know, that's their glory, you know. for the most part, they generally leave out Zechariah 4. And I would say not all of them, but 99.8 or 99.9% of them never bring out that they're God's sons. They don't want that getting out. Okay? These church people are the tares, okay? And the tares are the son of the devil. Children of the devil, that's in Matthew 13. So the truth makes them cringe and they get fearful. They have no assurance of their salvation. None. They have no faith. They have another gospel, they have another Jesus, the December 25th variety, and they receive another spirit, which is the unclean spirits, which, robs the word out of their heart, makes sure they get perturbed, they don't want to pay any price for the true gospel. They don't want to be rejected of friends and family over the true gospel. They reject the true gospel and they reject Yeshua instead because they're of the earthly man, Adam. They're not of the godly man, Yeshua, the second Adam. They're not of him. That's why in Matthew 7, it says, not everyone that says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. There's some that say, but we did mighty works in your name. Well, the rabbis and the synagogues never do any mighty works in Yeshua's name. It ain't them, it's the churches. We cast out devils in your name. That's the churches. And then what does Yeshua say? I never knew you. They have nothing to do with Yeshua. They have nothing to do with the true gospel. They have nothing to do with the Ruach HaKodesh. They're just impersonators, the tares. The tares look like the wheat. But when it comes time of the harvest, the tares stand up straight because they got nothing but junk inside them, where the wheat bends over from the weight of the grain, the wheat granules. They don't bend over. They stand up proud and tall and straight. Because Satan's the god of this world right now. That's very, very close to finishing. Okay. Now let's get some more indicators in the deal here. We'll go to Ezekiel 41, which is a depiction of the next temple, verses 18 to 25. So we're in Ezekiel 41, verse 18. And it was made with cherubim, cherubs, cherubim. See, the English, cherub is the singular, cherubim is the plural. These numbskulls don't write cherubim, which they say they know Hebrew, they don't. Cherubim is the plural. They put an S on the plural to make it plural. You see, they don't know Hebrew. And it was made with cherubim and palm trees, so that a palm tree was between a cherub. This is a date palm tree, it gives dates, okay? Was between a cherub and a cherub. And every cherub had two faces. So, I'm going to show you a cherub is not a specific category of an angel. The throne that the glory of God of Israel has 4 cherubim, with each one having different faces and wings and hands, different than this. So that the face of a man was towards the palm tree on the one side, and the face of a young lion was towards the palm tree on the other side. Well, this is indicative of Yeshua, the Lion of Judah, who came as the second Adam, the man. Yeshua, the Lion of Judah, the face of the young lion, and the other side made the face of a man, the second Adam. You see what I'm going here? Okay. It was made through all the house round about. And from the ground unto above, and they're referred to as cherubs. And from the, you see, if you say cherub, it's singular. Cherubs would be plural. Cherubim is the Hebrew plural transliterated. It's cherubim or cherubim or something. Anyway, they don't know what they're doing. From the ground, the one that really kind of knew what he was doing was Kyle and Delich, which you can get in e-sword.net for free. It's a commentary of the Old Testament with a very nice translation, but I have found significant doctrinal errors like Daniel 9:24 and others, quite a few. It's impossible to translate correctly unless you have correct doctrine. You're not going to get it. You can't. I don't see how. So, Kyle and Delich were German, and I think they did this in the 1800s, and it's one of the most accurate translations of the Old Testament from the Hebrew I ever came across, and you can get it for free with e-sword.net. You just download it. It's a commentary. Kyle, Keil, and Delich, Deli, it starts with. You'll see it. And it's not a perfect translation. Remember, it went from Hebrew to German to English. But it's a remarkably decent job. It's quite nice. It's not, it doesn't go all the way, but it goes pretty darn far. And it has its errors because it was done, in the night when no man can work. So it's not doctrinally correct. He makes mistakes. He doesn't have correct doctrine. Okay, so there are mistakes, and they abound, actually. From the ground unto above, these cherubs with the face of a lion and a man, two faces, were made through all the house round about. So they'll be in the next temple all over. Which is Yeshua. Yeshua's all over the temple, obviously. Our salvation is from him, what he did and everything else. From the ground unto above the door there were cherubim and palm trees made and the wall on the wall of the temple. So they're all over the wall of the temple there, The posts of the temple were squared. So this is a representative of Yeshua, referred to as a cherub. So this lends credence to the fact that the cherub word could mean a blessed living being, not from earth. Sounds like Star Trek. If we're going to do Star Trek, who do you think the Klingons are? Hint, then they're Israel surrounding us. Okay, the posts of the temple were squared, and the face of the sanctuary the appearance of the one as the appearance of the other. So I guess that's the cherubs also. The altar of wood was 3 cubits high, and the length thereof 2 cubits, and the corner thereof, and the length thereof, and the walls thereof of wood. And he said unto me, This is the table that is before Jehovah. And the temple and the sanctuary had two doors. The temple and the sanctuary. Oh, they translated it wrong. The temple and the Kodesh, the holy, meaning the holiest of holies, I believe, had two doors. And the doors had two leaves apiece, turning leaves, two leaves for the one door and the leaves for the other door. And there were made on them, on the doors and of the temple, cherubim and palm trees, like as were made upon the walls. And there were thick planks upon the face of the porch without. So I'm not saying that Yeshua is going to appear with two heads, one like a lion, one like a man. But there are beings, multiple in heaven, that appear this way, and I would say the typology is Yeshua, the Lion of Judah in the second Adam. And there were narrow windows and palm trees on the one side and on the other side of the porch and upon the chambers of the house. I want to look for something else here. Give me a second, I'm doing a quick search. I don't think we see the ark in the Ezekiel temple, but we are told in Ezekiel 37, the last three verses, that we will have the tabernacle again, and that's, I believe, the ark will be in the tabernacle. I'm trying to find something. Give me a second. I gotta go through a lot of scriptures. Oops, getting it narrowed down. Okay, so let's take a look at Solomon's temple now. First Kings 6:23. And within the oracle he made two cherubims of olive tree, each 10 cubits high, and 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub. and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub, from the uttermost part of the one wing onto the uttermost part of the other, 10 cubits. Cubits roughly 18 inches. It would go from here to the center of the palm to here. I mean, with every body it's going to be different, but roughly 18 inches. So times 10 is 180 inches. And so we put that into feet. I'll just throw it on the calculator. 180 divided by 12, 15 feet, which is 15 feet. So let's just go back into, this is Solomon's temple. All right, so, and with the oracle he made 2 cherubs of olive tree, each 10 cubits high, and 5 cubits was the wingspan, so the total wingspan of both wings would be 10 cubits. First Kings 6:25. And the other cherub was 10 cubits, both cherubims were of one measure and one size. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, 180 inches, 15 feet. So their wingspan is 15 feet and their height was 15 feet. So was of the other cherub. And he set the cherub within the inner house, and they stretched forth the wings of the cherubs so that the wing of the one touched the one wall and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. And he overlaid the cherub with gold. So what do we have here? He made them out of olive wood. Do you remember the 2 olive trees? And then he covered them with gold. The golden lampstands, the golden pipes that take the olive oil out of the olive and bring it to the golden 7 candlesticks, which is the congregation of the people, the ecclesia, they're called out from amongst, that Yeshua was walking around in Revelation 2 saying, if you're going to be bad, I'll take your candlestick away and all that, right? Right? I would be hard-pressed to say all this is coincidence. It's too much. It's too much to be coincidence. It's just it, the long and the short and the tall. It's too much. Can't be coincidence. Now, I'm going to lay a big one on you in a minute. I'm going to take a break for a minute. I'll be right back. Actually, I don't have one big bomb today. I got two. Now we're going to talk about Satan in a minute. Get my notes. Ezekiel 28. So far I want to remind you that we see these cherubim, these two cherubs in Solomon's temple, and we also see them in the tabernacle. Ezekiel 28:1. The word of Jehovah came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say to the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, because thy heart is lifted up, thou hast said, I am a God, or I am El. They don't word it right, because he's saying, Ani El, I'm God, not a God, the God, God. I sit in the seat of God, of Elohim, in the midst of the seas. Those must be the seas that are like as calm as glass. Because why would there be disturbances in heaven? So it would be perfectly still. Yet thou art a man, and the word for that is Adam, and not El, not God. Though thou set thy heart as the heart of God. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore thus saith Adonai Jehovah, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the heathen, and they shall draw their sword against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are slain in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him, that slayeth thee, I am God, but thou shalt be a man, and no God in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith Jehovah, Adonai Jehovah. Moreover, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lament upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, in the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardonyx, the topaz, the diamond. There's a diamond in the bottom. The beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, the carbuncle, the gold, and gold work, and gold, the workmanship of thy temperance. Hold on a second, I gotta get a drink here. Precious stones was thy covering, this, okay, the diamond, blah, blah, blah. The emerald, the gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets. What's a tabret? Oh, a tambourine. And of thy pipes. It's something to do with jeweler's work. Was prepared in the day that thou wast created. Okay, so it's not human king of Tyrus and Satan. Thou art the anointed cherub. See, so he's referring to him as a cherub, Satan. Got it? Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till lawlessness was found in thee. So, a perfect creation, a very blessed thing, was Satan. That's why he's called a cherub. Okay? He deceived the angels, and a third of the angels followed him, and they got thrown out of heaven. So he's not exactly like them, he's higher than them. But his lawlessness corrupted him, and it spread and spread, and he became a full-blown psychopath, which is what he is. Because he didn't repent of his lawlessness. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created, till lawlessness was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned, therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. So he was called the covering cherub. What do the cherubim on the ark do? They have their wings covering. I don't think Satan is the same as the two witnesses in Yeshua. I don't believe he's the Son of God. I think he was some special blessed angel that messed up. So he's called the covering. The word for that is 55:26. A hedge, a fence, a block. How does Storms put it in English? Like a screen, a fence, a cover over. Okay. From the midst of the stones of fire. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy lawlessness, by the lawlessness of thy traffic. That's probably merchant operations, trade, I guess. Therefore will I bring forth fire from the midst of thee, it shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth, in the sight of all them that behold thee. Well, that'll happen. It'll be interesting to see. And they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. Again, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Sidon and prophesy again. Okay, so he's called a cherub. So, he's called a cherub. The four beasts that fly with the wings with the throne, they're called a cherub. See what I'm saying? It's not a category of an angel. How could the beast be the same as Satan? It's not. It means a blessed one. Blessed, why? Because they're so close to the Lord. That's why. The two witnesses, Zechariah 4:14, the two anointed sons standing by the Lord of the whole earth. Blessed because they're right by the Lord. What a wonderful feeling that would be, right? And it goes on all the time. Yeshua, sit down my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. And then what did Yeshua say? Oh, let my son sit on your right and your left hand. Yeshua said, it's not up to me to give who sits on the right and the left hand. Obviously, the two witnesses do. Blessed. Yeshua's on the right hand of God the Father, and they're on his right hand. So they're all near God the Father, and that's blessed. And Satan was near God the Father. He was blessed. The ones with the throne are blessed because the glory of God of Israel is there with them. See? It doesn't make sense to call them the category of angels. It's too broad. Okay? You'd be lumping in the two witnesses, the four beasts with the four faces and the wings and the hands under the wings, and you'd be lumping in Satan and stuff. It doesn't have a good fit. That's a really obtuse, very, very hard fit to make work. I mean, super duper hard to make work. You can't make it work. I couldn't make it work. It'd be obtuse. It'd be like having a square with 5.5 sides or something. You can't do it. Heavy gent. All right. The next big bomb. Isaiah 60. Remember, the cherub have wings over the ark. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon thee. That's the glory of God of Israel is there with them now. Ezekiel 43, Zechariah 12's over, I believe. Or maybe not. Maybe it happens before. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But Jehovah shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the goyim shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. See, the nations of all the countries that the Israelites were scattered into are destroyed. Not all the people are killed. I'm sure a bunch do get killed. But those nations were built on Satan and his evil and his lawlessness and everything else. And they will be destroyed because that's what they were built up on. And they take great pride in that. And they're proud to be working for Satan and the fallen angels and stuff. And they're nuts. And the goyim shall come to thy light, that's the heathen, and the kings to the brightness of thy rising. So this is, obviously, Zechariah 12:10 just happened. And they looked upon the one whom they have pierced, and they got everlasting life, which is not living for eternity. Everlasting would be like, their life will just go on and on. It could be thousands of years. My people's days will be like that of a tree. That's a scripture. Some of these trees are multiple thousand years old. Okay, that's not eternity. There's no eternity tree. There's long life trees. You got it? The child shall die 100. That's what you're going to get. And you'll jump out of the stall like a baby calf, so you'll be like young again. And kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see, all they gather themselves together. They come to thee, thy sons shall come from far, the next great Exodus, and the daughters shall be nursed upon thy side. Look, you had the Egypt Exodus, you had the Babylonian Exodus. In 1917, you had the Balfour Declaration, which caused an influx of Jews to make Aliyah to Israel. 1948, you had a very big influx of Jews. And in 1990 into 1991, you had over 1 million come from Russia. So don't say the second Exodus. I think that's confusing. The next great Exodus is pretty good, and it'll be bigger than every previous Exodus. Maybe it's bigger than all of them added together. I don't know. Could be. Probably. But that's making doctrines that need not be made, but it probably is more than all put together. Then thou shalt see and flow together. Maybe it is good to say it like that. I don't know. Maybe, probably is good. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thy heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee, the riches of the sea. That could be the buried treasure, the sunken ships, it could be the fish, you tell me. The forces of the goyim, that's probably their riches, shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee, the dromedaries of Midian, and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall show forth the praises of the Lord. All the flocks of Kedar shall be gathered together unto thee, the rams of Nebaioth minister unto thee, they shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. This is probably going to happen after August 1st or something, maybe 2nd or 3rd or something. It's going to probably start happening around there. Or it could be earlier than that. It could be earlier than that. But I don't think so. Who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows? Well, this has always been a mystery to us, hasn't it? And since we realize we're going to have everlasting life, we're to not live for an eternity and still going to be able to die, my people's days shall be like that of a tree, the child shall die 100 years old. So the death is still possible. You'll be healed, you'll be very healthy and like young again, and your lifespan will probably be at least 1,000 years, but all you got to do is go 70 years approximately, and you'll get into New Jerusalem, and then you'll drink of the water of life and the tree of life, and there's no more death there. So when you do that, then you don't have any more death. Okay? But between now and then, we'll have the everlasting life, but there's a great falling away, Gog and Magog, and many will, I'm sure, get killed, go into captivity and stuff like that. Alright, so who are these that fly as a cloud, as the doves to their windows? Well, the two witnesses are represented by the two cherubim with wings, and you see this in Solomon's temple, where they're olive wood covered in gold, and you see this in the tabernacle, where they're hammered gold from the solid block, I guess. Okay? And they have wings. So having everlasting life means you're healed. They do not believe it'll give you wings. I don't believe that. But here, and it's not referencing eagles here, like eagle's wings, which I believe is a figure of speech, where this is who are these that fly as a cloud and as the doves to their windows. See, when the beast kills him, they say, who can make war with the beast? See? So if they were this spectacular, maybe that's it. Now comes, are they 180 or 15 inches or 15 feet high? I'll address this by starting out with, I don't know. Okay? But I'll give you some arguments, and we'll have to pray about it. So pray about that. I saw a vision. It was in a dream where I was looking at the Elijah. I'll just say it obtusely like that. And I saw no other persons around for a comparison. So I couldn't tell you the height. I don't know. The proportions of the statues could be just to meet the proportions of the ark. And that might be all there is to it. And I suspect that's it. The flying to the windows as the doves, I think, is the two witnesses. But that doesn't make them 15 feet. The ark was smaller, so they would be miniaturized if they were going to meet the dimensions of the ark. So I don't think it has anything to do with their height. Somebody will say, oh, the fallen angels gave us the Nephilim through the women, and now God's giving it back to them. No, their power is not in their height, or their biceps and quadriceps and stuff, and deltoids, like, the giant that David killed, Goliath. It's not that way. Not by might, not by power, but by my spirit. They do it by the Spirit of the Lord. It's not done on, the Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff. That ain't it. Okay. Crazy if you talked about this stuff to the church, they'd probably buy into it. Because it's not because it's true, because they like stuff like this. But they wouldn't have much understanding of the chronology of the two witnesses. It would get them, they would choke on that. And, Okie dokie. Let me get back on my notes. There's a few other things I wanted to touch on, not pertaining to the two witnesses. Jeremiah 31:38. Jeremiah 31:38. Behold, the days come, saith Jehovah, that the city shall be built to the Lord, from the tower of Hananel unto the gate of the corner. Okay, now this is Jeremiah 31, which obviously comes after Jeremiah 30, which is Jacob's trouble, which is Zechariah 12. So this would be after we finish Zechariah 12 and your second Exodus and so forth. So that's Jeremiah 31:38, and this is a very fine match with Daniel 9:26, I think, or 25, maybe 25. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the command to restore and to build Jerusalem unto the Mashiach, no, it doesn't say, unto the anointed prince, shall be 7 weeks. And there are that time you get all messed up, you don't pay attention to that so quick. And 62 weeks, and the street shall be built again, and the wall even in troubled times. So that's interesting, right? Can't say it's not interesting. It's interesting. Okay. Now, it also says it'll be in troublous times. So we're going to have our difficulties throughout these 70 years. I don't think all the time, but it'll happen more towards the end of it. But we'll have some troublous times, but not in the beginning, I don't think. I made a note of Daniel 8:14. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. So this is the scripture you could bring to people's attention when they say, with the abomination, they make it desolate, which is the image of jealousy. Ezekiel chapters 8-11, you read these things. The sanctuary of the temple does not get destroyed or burned or any of that. It gets defiled or corrupted. Okay? And it's evidenced by here because it gets cleansed after they get that statue out and they re-inhabit the glory of God if Israel goes back and so forth. Maybe they clean it before he goes back, but probably not. I don't know. But anyway, there you go. It's cleansed, so it's not rebuilt. Okay? I thought that was a good one to bring out. Let's go to Zechariah 2. It's not pertaining to the two witnesses per se. I mean, I think it's one of them is mentioned there, but let's read. I lifted up my eyes again and looked, and behold, a man with a measuring line in his hand. And Then he said, where whither goest thou? Or we would say, where are you going? And he said unto me, to measure Jerusalem, to see what is the breadth thereof, and what is the length thereof. And behold, the angel Lord, this is the word Malach, messenger, that talked with me, went forth, and another angel or Malach went out to meet him. So who are these two Malachs here? You know, Malach is, Elijah's referred to as a Malach, you know. And says, was it the two witnesses? And said unto him, run, speak to this young man, saying, Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls, for the multitude of men and cattle therein. For I, saith Jehovah, will be unto her a wall of fire round about. That's the glory of God of Israel. This is very similar to what he did in the wilderness for Moses and Aaron and the children of Israel. During the night, he was like a pillar of fire. A pillar went up from the tabernacle and then expanded out like a mushroom with a stem, and then something like that, you know. And that created heat for them at night, and during the day it converted into a cloud to keep the hot sun off them. And will be the glory in the midst of her. Ho, ho, come forth and flee from the land of the north, saith Jehovah, for I have spread you abroad as the four winds of the heavens, saith Jehovah. So the church people will tell you, oh, the north is Babylon, this pertains to Babylon. It does not. I'll tell you the daughter of Babylon is north. Why would I say that? Well, gee, it happens to be in North America. Is that a good reason? But it might also mean north of Israel. Okay. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. There it is. When it says it here, with the daughter of Babylon, it means the people living in America are the daughter of Babylon. He refers to the country as the daughter of Babylon because the people there are the daughter of Babylon. Something like calling people Egyptians versus Egypt. Kind of like that. Or French versus France. Or Germans versus Germany, you know. Daughter of Babylon, daughter of Babylon. So I just thought it'd be interesting to point that out. That dwelleth. So it's saying, deliver thyself, O Zion, which is Israel, and if you're a believer in Yeshua HaMashiach, you're in Israel. That dwelleth, that lives, you would say, and it says lives by Babel, with daughter Babylon. So the word with is added in. Dwellest bought Babel, daughter of Babylon. You know, we would think of it as with, or, you know, in the midst of, or something like that, you know. For thus saith Jehovah of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. The nations that spoiled are Jeremiah 30 verse 11. That's one way of looking at it. Or it's the nations that are picking on us today, making a spoil out of us. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, or you might want to say swing my hand upon them. And they shall be a spoil to their servants, and you shall know that Jehovah of armies had sent me. It's hard to understand who he sent. Glory of God of Israel, most likely, I guess. One of the two witnesses, it's one of them. Could be the two witnesses, one of the two witnesses, or glory of God of Israel. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for lo, I come and I will dwell in the midst of thee, saith Jehovah. That's the glory of God of Israel. And the kabod, and many nations, many heathens, goyim, shall be joined to Jehovah in that day, and shall be my people, and I will dwell in the midst of them. In the midst of thee, and thou shalt know that Jehovah of hosts hath sent me unto thee. And Jehovah shall inherit Judah and his portion in the Holy Land, and shall choose Jerusalem again. Be silent, O all flesh, before Jehovah, for he is raised up out of his holy habitation. Well, they won't pay attention to that. Looking at my notes. Let me go take a look at the chat and see if there's any questions I need to answer. I don't think so. Moldova, wow, that's nice to see somebody from Moldova, huh? No, I think the chat's pretty clear. Well, I think I covered everything I was going after to cover today. So, let's pray that I get a sense of timing about when Elijah starts training the Levites in Malachi 3. When well, that's the big thing right now, I think. And pray for more insights and better Bible studies. Pray for me and my wife to be happy, healthy, and whole, and our animals and pets, which are rescues, to be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for our finances, and pray for healing of our bodies, and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And I'll keep trying. And this today was probably so you would recognize the two witnesses and not be put off. Let me see. Okay. That's my assumption about this. Is it possible that I'm wrong? I don't think so. There's so many coincidences here. It's hard to say they're coincidences. They're more like clues, but I don't think I'm wrong. But pray I get it right. If I'm wrong, I get it right. But I don't think so. Okay, so I send my pray that keep praying I get my internet connection hooked up. It's not today, it'll be during the week, that it comes in good and everything's fine. And That's about it. I'm really spending a lot of time thinking about what it's going to be like doing broadcasts with the fiber optic. I don't know if it's going to be any different. I have no idea. We'll find out, won't we? Okay, so I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and I'm out.